So this video is for anyone who is new or is looking to improve on Versus, mainly the Heroes mode. I will pretty much cover all the basic and advanced mechanics you need to know and most of my knowledge on Versus. I will quickly explain the whole idea of the game mode Heroes. Essentially there are two teams, USS and Spec Ops. Each side has 4 unique characters and unique abilities per character. You only get 1 life as that character. If you die, you respawn as a soldier. The goal is to keep your team's heroes alive while trying to eliminate the opposing team's heroes. Whichever team finishes with the most heroes alive wins. Nothing is more important than preserving your heroes' lives. The soldiers are effectively pawns, protecting the important chess pieces. As a soldier, you do anything you can to keep your team's heroes alive. The best way to win is to stay together and try to focus one of the opposing team's heroes together. I won't get too much into how to play heroes efficiently. This video will be split up in different segments, which are defense, offense, movement and toxic playstyles. Timestamps for each segment is in the description. Let's start with defense. The first thing is standing up fast after you've been knocked down. Most people don't actually know this, but all you have to do is spam your A button if you're on Xbox or your X button for PlayStation. Let's move on to the tackle mechanic. To tackle, you need to push your left stick in and forward while also pressing the B button if you're on Xbox or the circle button if you're on PlayStation. The tackle is a really important mechanic as it grants you immunity to being knocked down. Here are some examples.
Grenade!
It's important to note that you can't spam the tackle back to back unless you jump on a wall or car, which resets your tackle cooldown. After a tackle, you go on cooldown. You can't tackle again for I think it's 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. But within that time frame, you cannot do the tackle animation. Instead, you will begin to knife. To reset the cooldown, it's as simple as jumping on a wall or a car.
Incoming!
Next is avoiding being knifed when you are standing up. To do this, you need to use the tackle input, which is pushing your run stick in and forward while spamming D. Now, you want to do this input right before you stand. If you can multitask, you can spam A to get up faster and just before you stand, use your tackle. This will grant you immunity frames against any sort of stun mechanic, such as being knifed or pushed onto the floor again. You can do the same thing when someone is standing behind you while you're on the floor. You can also decide to stand up slowly and rotate your camera in the direction of the opponent, and then just before you stand up, you can use your tackle. But if the person is experienced, they will most likely move around you and wait for you to tackle and then follow up with a knife right after you tackled, as you would be left exposed. Now you might ask, why not just spam jump? Let me show you why. Jumping and landing on the floor leaves you exposed to being knifed. It is important to make sure that you jump and stick to a wall or car, as this would allow you to continue running right after you land on the wall or car, which drastically lowers your chance to be knifed. You can jump left, right, back, forward with your run stick. As long as there is a wall or car in the direction you are jumping, you will stick to the wall or car. Now, if the opponent has waited for you to jump towards a wall, they may follow up behind you and knife you as you land on the wall or car. To counter this, we abuse the immunity frames from the tackle. Just as you land on the wall, you spam the tackle input. It's also important to remember to turn your camera when you're tackling to help you face towards another wall or car or even the opponent. Once you get the hang of the jump and tackle method, you can abuse it over and over to avoid being knocked down or knifed. There is another method of avoiding being knifed while on the floor. This only works if the opponent is standing in front of you. With the riot gun, which should be the only primary weapon you're using, more on that later, you can jump and shoot just as you stand up, which in return will knock back the opponent. You can also jump on a wall or car as you shoot. This results in you standing while the opponent is on the floor from the knockback, which gives you a window of opportunity to escape or pump out damage. Now, there is a pretty annoying mechanic in the game which exposes you to damage for a few seconds. This is the wall or car knockback. If you are knifed or knocked back with a wall or car behind you, then you are placed in a vulnerable position. While on the wall or car, you cannot do much to defend yourself besides rotating your character to protect its head. It is important to yet again tackle just as the animation of you being on the wall is about to finish, otherwise you will be knifed back onto the wall. This may take some practice, as you need to rotate your head so it faces the wall, and then just before the animation finishes, you need to rotate your character to face the opponent so you can tackle. Now let's move on to offense. Firstly, your primary weapon should always be the riot gun. This will be the best weapon you will use in Heroes mode. 90% of all fights will be close range. You can knock people down with the riot gun, it has great damage, and with a little exploit, it is the fastest rate of fire shotgun. Now, you would normally shoot this gun like this, but with the little exploit where you shoot and reload, you can exceed the rate of fire. The faster you shoot and reload, the faster the rate of fire. There is one thing you should be aware of when using the riot gun. Bottom right hand corner, you have your ammo count and your shell capacity. The shell capacity is the white lines. When you're on the last shell, it will turn red. I call this the ghost shell. As you can see, whenever you shoot the last shell, the shotgun's rate of fire decreases drastically. To avoid shooting slow, you should not fire your last shell and instead reload 2 shells and continue the shoot-reload method, which is called riot spamming. This helps stop you from being stuck on a slow rate of fire. There is a neat little trick with the ammo box, which helps you continuously riot spam without needing to reload. All you need to do is find an ammo box and keep riot spamming and restocking ammo when you reach the red shell. As long as you're next to an ammo box, all you have to do is press A every time you get to the red shell. Now, there are some characters which have access to the passive ability called Quick Reload. This is the 2 heroes, Carlos, Ada, and then the 2 soldiers for each side, Lupo and DA. With Quick Reload, you don't need to worry about the red shell as long as you keep a steady rhythm. The shell capacity will not go down. You can also shoot the riot gun much faster with fast reload characters if you use the riot spamming method. Now, for your secondary weapon, it needs to be the Samurai Edge. It's the pistol with the fastest rate of fire and really high headshot damage. You can kill a player with 5 shots to the head. Although, due to some strange reason, if you are not host, it will not always kill people in 5 headshots. It can take up to 10 headshots. Either way, it is still the best pistol to use. Let's move on to knifing. There are 3 ways of knifing. You have your usual way, which is just pressing B. Then there's the pressing B and holding down the shoot button while repeatedly tapping B. And the last method requires you to have your ability either active or on a cooldown. Once the ability is active or on a cooldown, you need to hold down the ability button, which is Y on Xbox and triangle on PlayStation, then repeatedly tap the knife button in a rhythm. Not too fast and not too slow. This is the fastest method for knifing. This is called knife spamming, which causes the opponent to be stuck in a loop where they cannot do anything unless you miss a knife or go too slow, which then in return they can tackle you. Knife spamming is good if you want to stun someone for a duration of time, whether that's to allow your teammates to damage them, or whether you want to get them onto a wall. Let's talk a little bit more about the riot gun. When sprinting, if you tap your shoot button, it will fire a shot each time. Now if you do it with the right rhythm, you will shoot quite quickly, all while either chasing after a player or rushing a player. Now remember, you do not need to shoot and reload here. The right spam method is not needed while chasing after people. Just tap the shoot button. If you go too fast, you will notice the riot gun jams. This can also be done with the Samurai Edge, and there's no limit on how fast you shoot with the Samurai Edge. Here's a way you can utilize the tackle and knife effectively to cause maximum damage and stuns. What you see is causing a stun with the knife, which allows me to shoot 2 riot gun shots, which would do around 30% damage to the body here, and 50% if they were headshots. Then I instantly tackle after 2 shots to force Hunk onto the ground to where you can then go behind him and try to do it all over again. Going behind people and on the floor either forces them to tackle, to which you can then follow up and knife as I showed earlier, or it forces them to jump onto the floor or onto a wall, which again you can follow them and knife and do it all over again. Sometimes they might not tackle, they might just stand up and turn around and tackle you instead, or shotgun you back. This is stuff you'll learn with experience and playing the game long enough. I'll quickly cover the 2 most important abilities that there is, Painkiller and Super Soldier. From the heroes, Claire and Ada have access to Painkiller, and for Super Soldier only Leon has access. For the soldiers, Harley and Bertha both have access to Painkiller, and DA and Looper have access to Super Soldier. Painkiller is the direct counter to all forms of damage. Painkiller is usually best used when the opponent activates their Super Soldier ability. You can either Painkiller yourself or your teammates. I'll show the damage with and without Super Soldier, and then the damage resistance from Painkiller. For movement, there's not much I haven't already covered, such as jumping on walls and tackling, rinse and repeat. But to move around the map without running out of stamina, you need to jump on cars and walls because it resets your stamina. You can't infinitely sprint, you need to jump on a wall or a car. Jumping on walls and cars while running away or running towards someone also makes it harder for them to hit you. Now lastly, let's move on to the dirty playstyles. I will not cover all the dirty methods as some are just outright toxic and are not needed. First, you have the players that like to use the grenade launcher with Super Soldier. If you don't know how to survive it, you're pretty much dead all the time as it kills you in 3 hits with Super Soldier. To survive this dirty method of playing, you need to try and abuse the immunity frames on one of the shots from the grenade launcher, such as a tackle as the grenade blows up, which then buys you time to either use Painkiller or a heal. You must try and avoid being knocked down by the grenade launcher if you want the best bet of surviving. The next type of dirty players are the infected players. Now sometimes it is better to play infected if the opponents are only using the auto aim feature, which is toxic in its own sense. It depends on how you look at it. Or if someone on the opposing team is playing infected non-stop, then it is justified doing it back. With infected, there are downsides and upsides. There are way more downsides than there are upsides. Starting with the downsides, you take more damage to the head, explosions do more damage, you are really weak to fire, your health decreases over time, the less health you have, the slower you move, and the less stamina you have, and your screen becomes much more blue. You also take friendly fire. The upsides, you cannot bleed, and you take very little damage to the body, which is a pretty damn good upside. That wraps up this video. If there's anything I've missed, or if there's any questions or anything that I haven't covered and you want me to cover, let me know down below in the comments. I'm also thinking about making a video showcasing each ability and how to use it effectively. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know. Take care, bye bye.